Welcome to another episode of VNture podcast, your weekly source of visual novel goodness. I am Emar, and together with Tauros, we shall venture into another discussion about VNs. Today we talk about... what do we talk about today? Oh, right, I forgot. It's about Amnesia in VNs. But before we dive deep and I get struck by Amnesia again, we also debut the newest version of the layout. Bigger and better. I guess size does matter, right, Taurus?
Yes, for anyone who's checking us out on YouTube, on the visual side of things, we've updated our layout. We got rid of some of the empty space we've had, and we've enlarged some of the cool stuff like the CGs, so hopefully our episodes look a lot prettier for you viewers.
Yeah, we hope that you enjoy the new layout, and with that being said, let's go back to our scheduled episode. So what did you bring us today, Taurus?
Yes, amnesia is a pretty common element in fictional stories where a character just forgets their entire past. And so this always leads to a whole lot of drama and maybe some mystery as we figure out, what just happened to this character in their past. And the first VN I thought of was Root Double. This takes place in the future, in a world where telepathy exists, where some people can send out words and thoughts and messages through their mind. And in this world, an explosion occurs at a nuclear power plant. So a search and rescue team goes in to save lives and hopefully prevent a worse disaster. The main character is the leader of this emergency search and rescue team, and unfortunately for him, the VN starts with him waking up from being unconscious on the ground and having no idea where he is or what's going on. Unfortunately, it is up to his co-workers to try and explain what's going on to him, and he is not in for a good time.
I never know where to specifically ask, because you just can't glance over for such a big thing that changes the entire dynamic of amnesia as a concept of telepathy. The ability to explore the mind through some superpower just stands in contrast with how mysterious the mind is and memories associated with it. So what's the deal? You have to tell me.
Well, obviously I can't get too deep into the details because who knows how much that may play into things. But yes, it's very interesting because, like I said, only some people have this telepathic powers, and a lot of people, don't. And so you do have this world where, on the face of it, it's a pretty typical action visual novel, where it's the main character and his friends rallying against this emergency to save lives and rescue everyone. And on the other hand, there is still this, I guess, otherworldly element of telepathy, and that's something that's always kind of the question mark in the back of your mind. And then, like I said, we also have this main character having amnesia. In several works, it's often just a convenient excuse just to add some drama later on with dramatic twists or whatever. But part of why I like Root Double is that this amnesia does play into his character and what happens later on.
Full disclosure, I know this VN. I haven't read it, but I know it for two aspects. I remember that routes were something non-standard, something you don't really see, different from the norm, and the other part is the graph that basically outlines your trust. How those two work within the confines of the amnesia?
Yes. Okay, so about the routes, there are two different starting points for this VN. There's Route A, where, like I mentioned, it follows this main character with amnesia as part of the emergency search and rescue team. There is also Route B, which takes place a week before this incident. It follows a group of high schoolers who are just living their daily normal lives, and they get caught up in some interesting incidents and they investigate it, and it goes deeper and deeper, and they wind in almost over their heads. And of course, this leads somewhat to the explosion, you know? So on the one hand, for, you know, people like you who are very interested in this whole telepathy thing, Route B has a lot of info dumping about the mechanics of this whole telepathy stuff. And because he's in high school, obviously there's the high school lectures about it. So it ties in pretty well with the story.
Okay.
For anyone listening, though, I would recommend starting Route A.
Okay, so I guess now we reach the second topic about... Oh my god. Typically, routes are named by either character, something called a true route, for example, but not letters. What's up with that? What the hell?
This VN's full name is Route Double, before crime, after days. And the its letters and the acronym, this VN has a lot of fun with that kind of stuff. So yes, it calls them Route A and after and before.
Oh.
To answer your second question, though, another unique aspect about this is its decision structure. There are some parts of the story where it will show you basically a graph measuring how much the main character puts his level of trust in each different person. So like one of the most obvious ones is near the beginning where your coworker says, hey, okay, here's this new medication. You gotta inject yourself with it every couple of hours and it will protect you from radiation. And of course, you being the main character and you have amnesia, and this is not something normal in the real world. So you're like, I don't want to inject that weird stuff in my body. And she's like, yes, please, you got to do it. This will keep you alive here in this nuclear power plant. And so then the graph comes up and it's a measure. How much do you want to trust her versus how much do you want to trust yourself? And depending on where you put those values, it affects the story of whether, you know, the main character agrees, like, well, okay, I'll take this, versus he adamantly refuses. It's a very unique system because oftentimes, like, multiple cast members will be a part of this at once. So there are a few times it gets tricky, and to be honest, there's a few times it's not very clear what the heck it's asking you for. I feel like most of the time, this VN would have been better just having normal choice selections. But, you know, to tie in with the whole mental aspect and the amnesia stuff, I think showing your levels of trust in people was a creative approach. I'll give them credit for that.
I mean, that's fair. The first thing that comes to my mind in regards to this system, as you explained it, and on the example of the pill, if it boils down to I trusted that person and I did it, against no, I don't trust you, I won't. That's kind of boils down to a two-choice system anyway. But I see the potential of saying I don't trust it fully, but calculating the risk, I'll take it. So not the full trust kind of deal. Now it becomes interesting.
Yeah, and also comparing your levels of trust between different people.
Okay. So you can trust enough to take the pill, but not enough to follow through on other ideas. Okay, I can see that. Okay.
Well, in this specific early example, you're overthinking it a little, but later on, it's sometimes like that. But yes, so there's a lot of action in Route Double, and I think there's enough mystery and very intriguing directions that this VN takes place with the main character's amnesia.
Okay, nice. I probably asking anything more would be on a territory of spoilers. Man, now you intrigue me with the telepathy. Oh my god! Now I want to sleep. Great. Now I will be thinking whether or not it works both ways, one way. Can you invade? Oh my god!
Oh my goodness!
Don't do it to me.
If you're really interested, you can always read it yourself. And in Route B, that's one common complaint, is that they really info dump a lot of stuff on you. But in your case, I think you would love it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
In the meantime,
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, totally.
Because I won't forget it. Hopefully.
Okay. What do you have, MR? What have you read with Amnesia?
I have my picks for today. Okay. And on some level, you can say those are very much my picks. Okay, but let's start with Baldur's Sky. Okay, I love this game, so I had to talk about it whenever I have chance. Okay, especially since how on multiple level it talks about memories. And yes, as cliche as it is, this entire VN starts off with Protac being woken up by probably very similar situation to what you described. Explosion, no memories, what's going on, they're pursuing us. But the first thing it establishes that there's something weird. You're not really in the real world. Baldur's Sky being set in sci-fi, where the internet and AI runs rampant, it makes sense. You acclimate to this setting slowly, but very quickly it shows that there's latent memories because Protac recovers muscle memory really fast. He's used to fighting. He was a net warrior, and now he understands how to do it. Despite being amnesia, he shows his skills. So immediately it explores the idea that there are some latent memories in your muscles after a lot of training that you will recover very fast. But that's not so well when it comes to memories, especially in a setting in which pretty much every person lives with a brain chip.
A brain
Boy,
chip?
those brain chip installed in their head. Because internet, technology, and specifically AI is so out there in sci-fi advanced. Pretty much it's a common thing to install yourself a brain chip and have access to the internet 24/7 all the time. Oh boy. And now the idea of how to recover those memories is very interesting. You have to go to therapy. They run a program to try to recover as many as possible, and pretty much, I wouldn't say only then, but mostly on those operations is when you experience flashbacks that are pretty much forced upon you. So you brace yourself for a flashback, and then you experience your memories of the past.
So in this case, so in fitting the sci-fi setting, the method used to retrieve his memories is much more of a clinical, robotic procedure to manually restore them, instead of just in typical stories where it's just like, oh, my memories might pop up at any point.
Yeah, and even the way they describe amnesia is very interesting because they compare it to IT infrastructure a lot of the times. Links not working because you try to remember something, but you get a website not available. They go really tech on it. I'm like, that's an interesting take on a concept of memories and amnesia in a setting that has a more evolved medical care, so they can cyberize those memories to some degree.
Interesting. Yeah, you mentioned brain chips and how connected to the internet and cyberspace this whole story is. So in that sense, does the brain chip play into like having a reservoir of his memories and they're just pulling from that, or something else?
Yes, I'll be very careful about answering that question because the core plot of this game revolves about him regaining memories, and its feedback loop to choice system is very neatly designed, in my opinion. There is some repairs going on. Let's go with the tech example. You have a hard disk failure. You go to the shop, you ask them to recover photos. This is not that far off from the procedure he goes through to recover those memories.
Okay, interesting. And of course, Baldur's Sky takes place as, it's a whole bunch of mecha battles, right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that there's a lot of muscle memory involved in him learning to fight and recovering his techniques. Is that true?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Some of those translate to the real body, some of those are exclusively AI, or AI battles using mecha avatars, but that's exactly that. Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm sure that's the level up system, where that's how you gain experience too.
Yeah, there's no level ups. Disclosure for those who here for this game for the first time. This game, this VM has gameplay elements, and Taurus is referencing those. You gain experience for techniques. You don't have a level as a person, but you get more experience with techniques that you're using. And to further this point, the more the technique you are using, the one that you're using, the more experience that one is. Not you as a person or a character or RPG mode. You don't have stats. You only improve your techniques that you're constantly using. And those that you don't really improve, which is fair point. That's exactly the idea.
Yeah, totally. And it goes in line with the whole Amnesia thing too. So overall,
exactly.
you really liked how the Amnesia theme was present all throughout of Baldur's Sky?
Yeah. I mean, even something as basic as force route order, which is this VM about, is unlocked by you having access to memories earlier. So, for example, since this again features a couple of routes, first route is pretty much locked in. You cannot not do it. You have to do it. But once you finalize it, the second iteration, it just so happens that at some point, quite late on, you'll have the opportunity to regain a memory earlier. And you having that memory earlier allows you to alter events, right? Which is choice system in a nutshell, right? Makes sense.
Yeah,
and
totally.
The more you have those unlocks, the earlier they appear, means the earlier you can do crucial tasks and alter the story further. And that's a very interesting concept of having a reverse ladder structure. In that, normally ladder structure is every single next choice allows you to get up end, and where this, in Baldur's Sky, every choice before goes to the new route.
I suppose. I mean, that feels more like just basic, gameplay exploration structure. The more tools you find, the more obstacles you realize you could break through. And yeah, and of course, it's classic for anything that has a true ending, you know?
Yeah, unlocks are classic for that's true. I agree. I'm just saying that this is one of the very few that unlock it backwards in time, whereas mostly it's through the end and maybe after that end that you didn't know it wasn't final. So there's another one. You see my point, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And here you go pretty much all the way back. And that's like, wow, wait, that's very interesting. And it makes sense. The earlier you collect your memories, the more you can impact the game. Huh.
Very cool. All right.
So what did you bring then?
Well, if we're going back to my VNs I've read, there's, of course, one title that has to be mentioned if we're going to talk about Amnesia.
Yeah.
And that is the Otome visual novel Amnesia Memories.
Oh man, this title gave us so many confusions when preparing this episode.
Yes, I know the original Japanese title was Amnesia, but for the purposes of this video, I have to use the Western name, which brought it over as Amnesia Memories. I have to, otherwise we're just going to trip over each other's feet this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Okay, but yes, the main character is a heroine whose soul has somehow been lost off in outer space. And some alien boy comes across it, decides to rescue her, and stick it out, otherwise it's going to be his fault for this whole mess somehow. And so the main character basically gets plopped back into her body on Earth. And this is all just a kind of a long premise to basically justify that there are completely different premises depending on which route you start with. In one instance, you start the game and she's a college student and she's already dating a boyfriend and there's stuff going on in her life. In a different route, you're a part-time worker in a cafe and you're dating a completely different boyfriend. And you know nothing about any of this stuff. You legitimately, like, you just get dropped into a completely foreign life that you have no clue what's going on. And so you're trying to hide your amnesia from everyone else in the story so they don't get suspicious.
Okay, I'll be absolutely honest and frank. I'm trying my best to parse everything you said. And I'm already confused. And I have my memories, I hope.
It is one heck of a premise.
Oh, God.
But like I said, the main point is that at the beginning, it does ask you which, quote unquote, world you want to drop yourself into. And each of them has completely different starting points, and you have a totally different premise. And it really plays into the whole amnesia part because, you, the reader, also have no idea what's going on. You don't know what this chick's life is because they're different each time, so it's not like you can have any preconceived notions like in Baldur's Sky, where, you finish the route and then you're like, aha, I have my memories for this. It's like, no.
Oh my God, that's true. Because, that's true.
You don't have your memories. Even if you finish a route and you go back to the start, you're going to start over on a completely different clean slate.
Oh God. Oh yeah, it is as if Baldur's Sky would always start with the new my mind is blown, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I see.
So yeah, I mean, it's so fun in this case because it's really like trying to piece together a stranger's life. But it's, apparently not a stranger's life. It's the heroine's life. And it's down to her trying to live normally, whatever that means. And so it's really fun because it's generally set in the same environment. Like, you'll run into similar characters and same locations and whatnot. But it's even funnier because some characters' personalities are wildly different. You're like, oh my God, what am I reading? You have completely different relationships with... There's one character who's like your sworn enemy in one route. And then you go back and do a different route and she's suddenly best friends with you. And you're like, oh my God, what is this?
What? Oh.
You are constantly on your toes each time.
I need to also comment, because I'm turbo confused by what you just said, on a screenshot you put forth on the layout. There is one screenshot that asks you to type the name. And I already see the potential, because...
It's not for any gameplay purposes.
Oh, okay.
It's a nameable protagonist just if you want to.
Cool.
That's what you commonly see in some games,
Because I know some titles that use Amnesia use that as a gateway of your knowledge for the reader. Okay. I needed to clarify that because that would be another layer on top of everything. Okay. Nameable. Okay.
No, so yeah, like I said, that's for being a title called Amnesia Memories. Obviously, if you're going to go all in on that amnesia trope like it does, that you really need to knock it out of the park. And as far as the plot's concerned, I think they had a great base for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great premise that you try to piece together. You want to undo your amnesia without anybody figuring out you have amnesia, basically.
Yep. And it's also a very unique situation of already being in a relationship with a guy. And obviously there's some shared history between the two of you, but you don't know any of it anymore. So you gotta kind of piece things together without being suspicious. And of course, that's much harder than it sounds.
That's so cool. Oh my God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's very unique, I have to say.
I mean, I really enjoyed the premise and the plot beats. As for the main story, some of the romantic love interests were better characters than others.
I see.
On the whole, a few of them were like, I really do not like them as characters, but that's okay. Kent made up for it entirely. He's such a sweet boy.
Okay, I see. You got your favorite.
Oh, absolutely. Overall, I liked it, and the amnesia was super fun throughout the whole thing.
I mean, from what you say, it's very, very unique. Yeah, and speaking of unique, because that's the second pick I have for today. Those are also very me picks, but I brought up something a bit controversial, whether or not it's a VN, but I brought a Grand Blue Fantasy Versus because it does one thing very uniquely. But before that, what is a Grand Blue? Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is a spin-off of a gacha Grand Blue game, and it takes place in I guess alternate timeline of sorts. I mean, it's a spin-off, they can do a lot. And the thing they do is very funny for the context of this episode. Because everybody but you has amnesia. And what that creates is so interesting. On one hand, it's a good excuse to make good characters have a conflict. So people with history, people who were friends, people who you know from the original game have some relationship, can be restarted to zero and built back up again. But the few first chapters give you that dissonance of, wait, am I the wrong one or everybody else is crazy? Because that's a unique perspective from protagonist who is definitely 100% sure that didn't lose memories, remembers everything crystal clear, but everybody's just reacting weirdly. What's going on? And it slowly unveils over time. But that concept is, it's like kind of reversed amnesia?
You get that funny concept of the whole, oh man, is everyone else in the world crazy or am I crazy?
Yes. And they're like,
Anyways,
Oh, God.
I love how you're once again talking about a spin-off fighting game with questionable VN aspects. You just get drawn to them like moths to a flame, huh, dude?
I mean, this one is a bit special that it features a co-op, so I read it with my friend, so I just wanted to include it.
Okay.
It was a very special... I mean, full disclosure, I did not play the original, nor did he, so we were totally confused. Now, on the good points, to me, at the very least, it has a lot of glossary, the word is very expansive, you can read on it, it's fine, I enjoy it. It's just, I am so lost.
Yeah, I was about to say, because it's off a mobile game, and it's been going for like many years. And you're talking about the character relationships and the whole resetting all of their, any grudges they may have. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, if you're not familiar with the original, are you okay? Did you follow along?
No, I'm not, but I did follow as much as possible.
Oh my god, Amar.
Yeah, I'm so lost. Okay. I mean, I followed the basic story, the structure. I understand how it's unveiled. I understand when things develop. I get it, but I was so lost for the longest time. I did not know what you can. I guess this game is a love letter to those fans because they didn't really lore dump anything, so I had to read up on the glossary myself.
Oh my goodness. Well, it is a fighting game though, so did you enjoy it on the gameplay side of things?
Yeah, it was very unique. Probably very easy, but the boss battles are crazy good. I love them.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with fighting games myself, but I hear Grand Blue, well, it had unfortunate timing coming out right before the pandemic.
Yeah, true.
But thankfully, the story mode and what you mentioned with co-op, that's actually really unique. I didn't know. It has story co-op, you said?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It's like, what? That blown my mind. What the hell? You can do that?
Multiplayer, single-player content.
Yes. Like, what? That's so weird.
But like you said, everyone else in the world had amnesia.
Yes.
Okay, and obviously the plot is about trying to get them back up to speed about things.
Yes, exactly.
I hope so. And it's not just the main character deciding, this is happy. I'm just going to keep everyone in the dark like this.
Oh my god, that would be a weird twist.
That would be a weird kind of spin-off.
Yeah,
I am the ruler of the island and I will tell you all how to live.
Yeah, I'll be honest, there's some That would be really funny. It's very hard for me to explain the setting because it's about the skyfarers that travel in sky and they have sky captains and love sky. The word sky appears everywhere. Every second sentence there's sky. Sky dome, sky captains, skyfarers, sky's everything.
Oh my goodness.
Somehow the screenshots I have is on the ground. What's wrong? Why is that? What's happened? Oh, I'm so lost sometimes. I'll be honest, I'm so lost.
Oh my goodness, Amar.
Yeah, but the game is very flashy. I kind of like the comedy in it. I didn't took it seriously because otherwise my plane would explode. Okay.
You're kind of working off the back foot here if you're trying to take it
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, but that's all good. That's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
And with that, I think we will need to wrap up today's episode. Thank you again, everyone, for listening. And I hope you enjoyed the topic, and I especially hope if you enjoyed our new layout. If you have any questions or comments, you can always leave a comment or email us or contact through any of our socials, of course.
Exactly. If you have anything, just reach out, and thank you and goodbye.
Bye-bye, everyone.